Okay, so I have a big encouraging word for a lot of you. I was just sitting here reflecting on just everything that's going on in life, and I want to remind you of something. Now, I've talked a lot about military justice coming. I've talked about massive arrests. I've talked about just many different things, prophetic dreams I've had, prophetic words I've given, as well as just trying to discern the news around us. And one thing that is happening, obviously, in the public realm is that this whole Trump thing is going on, right? And so if you look at it from before, from last year, especially with the Mar-a-Lago, the raid, and then you had all of a sudden the Biden stuff come out, right? So raiding Biden's, his stuff and his filings, right? And so all of that discussion has happened. And it just seems like everything that happens that's in some sense bad happens to Trump first before it kind of goes to everybody else. And so I was just reminded today that a lot of what's happening has to be, again, digestible by the public. It has to be palatable from a left or right perspective, from anybody's perspective, from a normie's perspective, people that haven't been brought into the fold, what have you. So you have to understand that there is a massive awakening operation going on. And before the military and all these people, and I know a lot of people have been following what's going on for decades even, the fact that, yes, you had the Clinton stuff, everything from the email stuff all the way back to just when she was Secretary of State and just so many of the crimes, right? And then all of this underground stuff, the human trafficking stuff, the child stuff, the torture stuff, just everything that you could ever imagine. So all this stuff, yes, it's there. You can do some digging, you can find footage, you can do all of that. But the question people have is they're not going to get justice. They're not going to come to, pay for what they've done, the crimes that they have done. And so I've been saying that there is a group of people behind the scenes that's working, whether you want to call them the White Hats, the Patriots, what have you. And these people have been selected and are being used by God in this hour. And they're stepping up to their calling, and they actually have the boldness and the courage to do it, but they have to be shrewd about it. They have to go about this whole operation in the sense that you can't just go, storming in there, guns blazing, and think that you can just get everybody, because you're going to have massive riots. And people that have not been brought into the fold, they're just going to, ruin everything for everybody else. They're going to spread rumors. They're going to make everybody rile against the good guys when they were actually the good guys. And so for this whole operation to work, before you just go in there and arrest everybody, there's this process that you got to have to bring people into the fold. And so this is why it's happening for Trump and many of the good guys first. They're taking the hit. They're taking the slings and the arrows first before it can be brought to everybody else. And so that way, the people on the left, if you want to call it, the people that hate Trump, whoever, right? Nobody's above the law is what a lot of people are saying. So that's why it's being done to him and many others first before it can just be done to the actual criminals. Now, people, again, are still going to laugh at this. But again, I've been thinking, and a lot of people have been reflecting on, man, it's progressed to such a degree. And then, of course, alongside everything else has just been all the banking stuff, the collapse of that. And if you want to get back into like the corporation stuff, the U.S. stuff, the indebted, the bond servant stuff, all of that, Federal Reserve type stuff that's happened, if you know about that in terms of your birth and all that. I'm not going to get into all of that stuff, but those things are crumbling as we speak. And then more things, good things are going to be ushered in very soon. But right now, the key thing that a lot of people are still wondering is, man, you have a two-tiered justice system. You have all these people that have done the crimes, the actual crimes, but they're not getting justice for it. But I'm saying, and as I've been getting, affirmation and a reminder, just like how people have been given the prophetic dreams, they've been doing the research, they've been seeing the actual wickedness that has unfolded in front of them, but they're not getting the justice, the punishment, the wrath that they deserve. And that day is coming. That day is coming, but a lot of things have to happen in sequence first. And so we're living right now. This April, right? April first week. It's closing up. You actually had Trump arraigned, indicted, and just going through all of that stuff. And this has to happen for a reason and in sequence so that other people, as they're brought in, as more people are being awakened, then you can easily go in. The same thing happened with the documents, right? The classified stuff from the Biden and that whole area, right? And so you have the Hunter Biden stuff. You have all these things that are happening, and people are wondering about those things. But again, when unity needs to happen, when people from whether the left and right, whoever needs to be united and seeing it as a good versus evil thing, they can snap out of it in due time. But all of this has to happen for a reason. So I'm saying, and as I've been getting affirmation, that that day is coming. The day for justice, for the wrath of God, and for people to serve what they have, had to pay their crimes for. Those things will come at the right time. And it's going to come suddenly. It's going to come with swift justice, military tribunals, whatever you want to call it. Those things will come because, again, you have the law. You have the law on your side. You have many things that have to go for this entire operation to be successful so that we can move into this next stage that God has for us. And so, again, guys, don't be discouraged. Don't be worried about, what's happening. I'm getting affirmation. And yes, in parallel, you have all this other stuff that's going to happen. It's going to get a little bit worse for a while. You're going to have famine. You're going to have supply shortages. You're going to have many other, uprisings. Yeah, there's some people that are just going to be lost forever. There's some people, they're never going to wake up and accept the fact of what's really going on. But that's okay, because for the majority, for more than half at least, they will be brought on board and they will realize it in due time. But right now, there has to be a sequence of steps that are taking place. And if you even want to say that there's a huge movie going on, even Trump, people are saying he didn't have the pin on his jacket, on his lapel, right? And so this begs the question of who, was that a body double? What else is going on here? And so again, if you want to say a scripted movie, if you want to say that all this is being done because everybody's playing their part, they're being, whether it's blackmail or whether it's other double agents or whatever it is, there's something going on, guys. And there are people that are using certain technologies, whether it's the mass technology, kind of like the Tom, Cruise Mission Impossible style, or many other things. Again, people are going to laugh at those things, but go research it. Go research it. And again, there's this whole script in some sense happening, but at the same time, not all of it is completely in this control. The white hats, the good guys are in control, but there is still this last minute, grasping at the straws type of thing, this last breath, their second wind, their last wind. All of these things are happening. And so they're being more overt about it. You're seeing certain things in Canada, many other countries, their own versions of the Restrict Act. They're trying to really grasp and take control of the narrative and just fight to the very end. They're not going to give up and say, oh, you got us. That's it. We admit to it. They're going to die, to go to their grave trying to defend and to attack these things. And so that's why you have, all of this narrative seeding and battle going on. More and more people are going to first be confused, only to then desire for truth. And then they research to ask the Lord, especially if you're a Christian, for discernment, and then God will give you that discernment. And so it's crazy to me how far I've gotten in the sense that God has opened my perspective on history, on perspective, on reality, on theology, on church, on politics, social justice, all these things, right? All these issues. God is literally unlocking your brain to comprehend these things because you have been awakened, and no more are you under the spell of the world, of the flesh. And so again, take heart. Justice is coming. God is going to take care of this. He's going to handle it. That doesn't mean we sit back and not do anything. Continue praying, seeking the Lord, and then locally do your part. So a lot of people need to be handheld through this process, but I'm excited. It's a good time. Just let things play out. Don't lose hope. Stop reacting to certain situations. There's more to it. If you've been trained and you've been watching what's unfolding the last couple of years, if anything, you know that you just take a step back. When you hear news, when you hear things come out, don't just believe what they're saying. Don't just take it and make your assumptions and connect the dots. There's more to it than meets the eye. So be encouraged, guys. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.